Hello viewers, welcome to our extended tutorial focusing exclusively on evaluation. This is the third part of this series of monitoring, evaluation and research. We have already uploaded two video tutorials in this series. In the first one, we covered some foundational aspects of monitoring, evaluation and research. And in the second session, we discussed monitoring in detail. If you haven't watched these two videos, the links are given in the description and here also. This third session is totally focused on evaluation. We are going to cover a range of topics to help you understand and apply evaluation effectively. By watching this video, you will gain valuable insights and practical knowledge that will greatly help. I encourage you to watch this video till the end, or at least just watch the video for a minute and then decide. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share with your family and friends, and hit the notification bell. First, we will start with what is evaluation. We will start with the basics, what evaluation is, and some examples to illustrate. Why evaluation matters. We will learn why evaluation is crucial and what are the benefits of evaluation. Then we will discuss types of evaluation. We will explore different types of evaluation and when to use them. Then we will also discuss key components of evaluation to discover the main parts of an evaluation with examples from various sectors. After that, we will discuss UNEG evaluation criteria to understand the UNEG framework, including relevance, efficiency, effectiveness, coherence, impact, and sustainability. These are some of the evaluation criteria. After that, we will discuss evaluation criteria in action to give you some examples of evaluation criteria and to see how these criteria apply in a real world example. Then we will discuss how to use evaluation effectively. There will be some tips and examples on how to make the most out of your evaluation. After that, we will discuss the best practices in evaluation, practical steps and strategies for conducting effective evaluation. Case studies and evaluation excellence. We will learn from detailed examples of successful evaluation. I will show you some case studies. Then we will discuss how to use evaluation for continuous improvement, and we will also discuss the ethical consideration. We will try to understand the ethics and standards to follow in evaluation, and then we will discuss what are the key challenges in evaluation and what are the solutions for those challenges to conduct effective evaluation. Introduction of evaluation. What is evaluation? Evaluation is the systematic assessment of the design, implementation, and outcomes of a project to determine its relevance, efficiency, effectiveness, impact, and sustainability. In evaluation, we try to determine whether the project was relevant to the beneficiaries and communities, whether it was efficient, effective, impactful, and sustainable or not. We will discuss this in detail. Evaluation is the systematic assessment of the design, implementation, and outcome of a project to determine its relevance, efficiency, effectiveness, and impact, while monitoring is the systematic and continuous assessment of the progress of a project over time. So in monitoring, you are focusing on the progress of activities, indicators, and project, while evaluation is then the systematic assessment. Whatever monitoring you have done so far, now in evaluation you will see whether the project activities and indicators that we track during monitoring, whether they have some impact on the beneficiaries or not. So in the evaluation, we see the outcomes of a project. Simply look at this example. For example, in every project we have input, activities, outputs, outcome, and goal. Now this part comes under evaluation. In the evaluation, you assess the outcomes and goals. While in the monitoring, we focus on inputs, activities, and output. We track them so that the project achieves the targets of its activities and outputs. While in the evaluation, then we see the outcome and the goal. Why we do evaluation? Its purpose is to provide insights. Whether the project, as I told you, whether the project was relevant, efficient, effective, impactful, and sustainable or not. Let's discuss some examples of evaluation in different sectors, and then we'll go into detail how to conduct evaluation and how to apply those evaluation criteria. In education, gathering feedback during the development of a new curriculum, content, teaching methods, and learning objectives, or assessing overall students' achievement, learning outcomes, and program effectiveness at the end of an academic year or program period. These are some examples of evaluation in education. Example is from health. For example, evaluating healthcare delivery process to improve efficiency, patient satisfaction, and health outcomes. Similarly, measuring the impact of public health intervention on health behavior, disease incidence rates, and community health outcomes over time. These are also some examples of evaluation in health sector. Some examples related to WASH sector or disaster risk reduction sector. For example, in the WASH, assessing the impact of water supply projects on access to sanitation facilities and hygiene practices in rural communities. Or in the disaster risk, evaluating the effectiveness of disaster response efforts, preparedness programs, and community resilience building initiatives. These are some examples from WASH and disasters. Why evaluation is important? Evaluation is crucial because it informs decision making by providing data to guide strategic choices, ensures accountability by making sure resources are used responsibly, and fosters learning and improvement by identifying best practices and areas for improvement. Why evaluation is important? It informs decision making. It gives you data. It gives you information to guide strategic decisions, modify your project, or to replicate some activities which are doing good in the field. It also ensures responses to use of resources. If you have conducted an evaluation and you provide the information to donors and community, so the donor can commit more resources. And similarly, learning and improvement, where we identify best practices and areas for improvement. If you don't conduct evaluation, you don't know which activities are doing good, which activities are not doing good, what we need to change, what we need to address. Now we will discuss some types of evaluation so that when we are discussing how to conduct evaluation, so it would be easy for you to understand when and how to use different evaluation. There are several types of evaluation. Formative evaluation is one of them. Formative evaluation is conducted during the development of a project to improve its design. Formative evaluation is regular to see any challenge and any issues in the activities to improve its design. Then there is summative evaluation, just like we do final exams in school. So conducted after completion of the project to assess its impact. So formative evaluation is conducted during the project, while summative evaluation is conducted after project completion. Similarly, there are process evaluations which focus on implementation process and operational efficiency. This type of evaluation focus on the implementation strategies. These type of evaluations assess the implementation process and operational efficiency of the project. And then there is impact evaluation. It assesses the long-term effects and outcomes of the project. For example, after 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, what would be the benefit of a project? So it assesses the long-term effect and outcomes of the project. Here is a table summarizing the key types of evaluation. Here you can see the definition and the characteristics. For example, as we discussed, formative evaluation conducted during the development or implementation of a program. What are its characteristics? It focuses on ongoing feedback, identifies areas for improvement, guide decision making during the development phase. These are the basic characteristics of formative evaluation. Examples involving gathering feedback and making adjustment during the development stages of program or projects to ensure they meet their objectives effectively. So during the project, you are involving to gather feedback about different activities so that you make some adjustment during the development stages of the project to ensure that they are on track and meets their objectives effectively. Another example, in education, this involves refining teaching methods and curriculum based on ongoing feedback to enhance learning outcome. For example, your project is on curriculum based activities. So if you are conducting formative evaluation during the project implementation, so that would give you the information and ongoing feedback to enhance learning outcome if there are some issues in the curriculum or teaching methods, so you can evaluate that through formative evaluation. In health, it focuses on adjusting health education programs based on initial participant responses to ensure effectiveness. If you are implementing a health intervention, formative evaluation would give you insights about your program activities in health, like participant responses, to ensure that the activities are effective and efficient and impactful for the beneficiaries. Summative evaluation, its definition and its characteristics. So as we discussed, summative evaluation is conducted at the end of the program. What are the key characteristics of summative evaluation? It provides a comprehensive assessment of the achievement and outcomes. Similarly, it is used for accountability and decisions regarding program continuation or revision. For example, as we discussed, the summative evaluation is conducted at the end. It provides you information whether we should continue these interventions or not, or if there are some revision required or some modifications required. So such type of information you can obtain through summative evaluation. These examples focus on assessing overall effectiveness and outcomes of the conclusion of initiatives. You have completed an initiative, so it gives you the overall information related to its effectiveness and outcomes, often for decision making and accountability purposes, like administering standardized tests at the end of an academic year to measure student learning outcomes and educational program effectiveness. Education, it measures overall student achievement and the effectiveness of educational program over a period. And in health, it assesses the outcomes of health intervention or campaigns to determine their impact on community health. So these are some examples, and these summative evaluation are conducted at the end, which provides you a comprehensive assessment, and it is used for accountability and decision regarding program continuation or revision. Similarly, process evaluation. So here you can see the definition of process evaluation. As we discussed, evaluation that focus on the implementation process of a program or intervention. So the focus of this type of evaluation is on implementation. What are its characteristics? For example, examining inputs, activities, understand the operational dynamics, identify areas needing improvement, some of the characteristics, but its focus is on the implementation process, not on the objective and outcome. Let me give you some examples. Process evaluation. This type looks closely at how programs are implemented, ensuring adherence to procedures and identifying areas for operational improvement. In education, it evaluates the implementation of new educational strategies to ensure they are followed. In health, it examines healthcare delivery process to identify areas for improvement in patient care. And then there is outcome evaluation. Evaluation that examines the short-term and long-term effects or impacts of a program or intervention. What are the basic characteristics? So this is basically the definition of outcome evaluation, and these are some of the characteristics. Let me give you some examples. These examples measure the tangible impact and changes resulting from programs or intervention, demonstrating their effectiveness in achieving goals, long-term goals. Similarly, in education, it measures the long-term academic success of students after participating in educational programs. In health, it evaluates the sustained effects of intervention or campaigns on health behaviors and outcome. So these are some of the examples related to outcome evaluation. On this slide, you can see all these four types of evaluation, their definition, and their characteristics. You can see here. So you can pause here and go through them again to understand the different types what are these different types of evaluation and what are the key characteristics of these evaluation. Two things are very important to understand in evaluation: components of evaluation and UNEG evaluation criteria. Let's discuss component first. It's very important for those who are either conducting evaluation or monitoring evaluation or supervising or managing any types of evaluation. From here now we are going into the practical steps on how to conduct evaluation. Basically, effective evaluation relies on several key components. Let's explore these components in detail to understand how they contribute to evaluating projects. The first one, evaluation criteria. Then there are evaluation questions. Then we have indicators, data collection methods, data analysis, and reporting. We will discuss each one with detailed examples from all sectors. First, let's discuss UNEG evaluation criteria, which is very important. You might have seen this before also. Here you can see the first one, we have relevance. These are the 6 United Nations Evaluation Group evaluation criteria. The first one is relevance. Is the intervention doing the right when you are conducting evaluation? So in the relevance, what is your main question? Then you can add a lot of sub questions that we will discuss in next slide. But the key question for relevance is the intervention doing the right thing, whether it is relevant to the people and to the stakeholder? The next one is coherence. How well does the intervention fit? We will discuss in detail in next slides each of these criteria. Then we have effectiveness. Is the intervention achieving its objective? This is effectiveness. Then we have efficiency. How well are the resources being used? Then we have impact. What difference does the intervention make? What is the impact of the interventions or the activities? And then we have sustainability. Will the benefits last? Let's discuss now each one of them in further detail. The relevance criteria assesses the extent to which a project addresses the needs and priority of its target population or community. The key question or relevance criteria would be the extent to which a project addresses the needs and priority of its target population or community. The next one, the extent to which the objectives of a program or project are relevant with the needs of beneficiaries and the context. Similarly, assessing the impact of a health education program on reducing disease prevalence in a targeted community, and assessing whether a health intervention addresses prevalent health issues in the target community or not. Another example is evaluating if a new curriculum addresses the learning needs of students and align with local educational standards. I will give you some more question example also in next slide, but first let's discuss each criteria with these example and then we will go into further detail. The next one is coherence. It checks the alignments with other ongoing intervention and policies. For example, the compatibility of the intervention with other intervention in a country, sector or institution. If you are conducting a health intervention and there are other NGOs who are conducting the same intervention, or if the government of the country is also conducting the same intervention, this criteria checks the alignment with those intervention, whether these are aligned or they are doing something else and you are doing something else for the same type of intervention. So this is also very important. Another example is evaluates the alignment and consistency of project intervention with broader development strategies and priorities of the country or our sector. Similarly, policy alignment, assessing whether project activities align with national development policies and priorities. If, for example, in a region, a government department has developed some policies for their health intervention or education intervention, and you are conducting something else to check the alignment of the different intervention of different NGOs and with government sector or the national development policies and priority. Even in the start of a project, if you focus on using these evaluation criteria for the proposal, that will also benefit you a lot. If in the start of a project you evaluate your proposal with these criteria, whether these criteria apply well in this project or not, so you can do that also. Similarly, sector integration, evaluating the integration of project intervention across different sectors to promote synergy and maximize impact. Another example in education, evaluating how a literacy program aligns with other ongoing educational reforms and initiatives. If the education department has initiated some reforms or initiatives, so whether your literacy program aligns with that or not. In health, assessing whether a nutrition program complements existing health services and policies in the community. Now the next one is effectiveness. It measures the achievements of objective. This criteria measures the extent to which project objectives are achieved and desired outcomes are realized. The extent to which the objectives of a program or projects are achieved, including any differential results across groups. Similarly, evaluating the success of a skill training program by measuring improvement in participants' job performance and productivity. Goal attainment, assessing whether project activities contribute to the achievements of broader development goals and objectives or not. Measuring the improvement in student test scores and engagement after implementing a new teaching method. In health, evaluating the reduction in disease incidence after a health intervention. In effectiveness criteria, you will have to develop questions like these to assess the effectiveness of the project. The next one is efficiency. It focuses on resource utilization relative to objectives. This criteria evaluates how well resources are utilized to achieve project objectives. The extent to which resources, funds, time, expertise are used economically to achieve the objective. For example, an activity has done very well. It has taken a lot of funds and time and expertise. So you also need to see the efficiency, whether it was worth it or not. Resource allocation, analyzing the cost effectiveness of project intervention and delivering desired outcomes. Similarly, time management, assessing projects' timeline and delivery schedules to optimize resource utilization and minimize delays. In education, assessing whether the cost of training teacher in a new method is justified by the improved student outcomes or not. Evaluating the cost effectiveness of using mobile health clinics to deliver services in rural areas. Then we have impact. This criteria assesses the long-term impact, effects, or changes resulting from the intervention. For example, the impact criteria assesses the long-term effects and sustainability of project intervention on target beneficiaries and communities. The broader long-term changes produced by a project directly or indirectly, intended or unintended. Long-term outcome, assessing the sustained benefits of project intervention beyond. Evaluating changes in beneficiary behavior and practices resulting from project intervention. Assessing the long-term career success of students who participated in a vocational training program. Are evaluating the long-term improvement in community health indicators due to a sanitation initiative. So these are some of the examples related to impact. Then we have sustainability, evaluate the continuity of the benefits post-intervention. Examples, the sustainability criteria evaluates the capacity of project interventions to be maintained or continued over the long term. Community development project, assessing the sustainability of community initiatives by examining the extent of community ownership and capacity building efforts. If you have conducted a project in the community and when the project ends, so whether that community has taken some roles and responsibility to continue that same activity. If that is related to awareness raising, like construction of health facilities, so whether that community is ready and whether they are taking the ownership to continue those activities and intervention. The likelihood that the benefits of a program or project will continue after the funding and support have been withdrawn. When the funds are withdrawn and when the support has ended, so whether there is a likelihood that that program or project will continue. Similarly, For example, infrastructure project, evaluating the sustainability of infrastructure project by considering factors such as maintenance plans, resource availability, and stakeholder involvement. If you have constructed washrooms in schools, so whether the education department is ready to take care of those washrooms and those facilities that you have provided onward, if an intervention is relevant, efficient, effective, impactful, but not sustainable. So that is also one of the important thing to consider, that sustainability should also be there. That's why I told you that when you are developing proposal for a project, so you should evaluate those activities against these criteria in the start also. Let's recap. Relevance, ensure alignment with beneficiary needs and context. Effectiveness, measure the achievements of objectives. Efficiency, focus on the resource utilization relative to objectives. Impact, assess long-term changes resulting from the intervention. Sustainability, evaluates the continuity of benefits post-intervention. And coherence, checks alignment with other ongoing intervention and policies. On this slide, you can see all these evaluation criteria on this side. On this side, you can see the definition of each criteria, and on this side, you can see example. You can pause the video here also and discuss. Now, after evaluation criteria, the next thing is evaluation question, which we already discussed also a lot in each criteria, but let's focus here on. So in the components of evaluation after criteria, there is evaluation questions. So questions are based on evaluation criteria. A question might be asking participant about their satisfaction with the training program to gauge its effectiveness. Another example, asking students about their understanding of a lesson to assess teaching effectiveness. Asking patients about their satisfaction with healthcare services to evaluate service quality. So these are some of the key questions that you can ask during evaluation. We will discuss these questions in the evaluation framework in the next slides coming on. Another component of evaluation is indicator, monitoring student performance on assessments to track learning outcome, or tracking the number of new customers acquired to measure the success of a marketing campaign. Tracking patients' recovery rates and disease management outcomes to measure health intervention effectiveness. These are some types of indicators. So this is also one of the key components of evaluation. Another component is data collection method that we discussed in monitoring also. But here the data collection methods would focus on conducting surveys, interviews, and observations to gather relevant data, using surveys, quiz, tests, and classroom observation to gather data and student progress, conducting patient surveys, medical records review, and health facility observations to collect healthcare data. These are some of the data collection methods that we utilize in evaluation. Another component is the data analysis, analyzing survey responses and performance metrics to draw meaningful conclusion. Analyzing exam scores and attendance records to assess academic achievement. Whatever you have collected with the data collection methods, here you will have to analyze. Analyzing patients' outcome, treatment, adherence rates, and health service utilization patterns to draw conclusion. Analyzing sales data to identify trends and patterns in consumer behavior. The last component is interpretation and reporting. When you collect the data, then you analyze the data. Now here is interpretation and reporting. So present evaluation finding and clear, concise reports to stakeholder for decision making, presenting semester end reports to school administration, highlighting students' achievement and areas for improvement, or for example, producing annual service reports for stakeholders outlining achievement, challenges, and recommendation. We will discuss each one now in detail that how to do that, but these are those key components of evaluation. Here on this slide, you can see now each component: evaluation question, indicator, data collection methods, data analysis, reporting. Their education sector example and health sector examples are there. You can pause the video here also, recap the content of this section. So far we discussed the key components: evaluation criteria, evaluation questions, data collection method, data analysis, and reporting. When you are starting in evaluation, so you need to develop evaluation framework. If there is a project, so how you will need to develop the evaluation framework. That evaluation framework will have all those components: evaluation criteria, evaluation questions, data collection methods, data analysis plans, and then reporting and communication. Now on this slide, I don't know it's visible to you or not, but in each slide I will show you each component. But here I am just showing you on one slide. Here you can see the UNEG criteria, then what could be the evaluation questions, what would be the data collection method, data analysis plan, and roles and responsibility. This is an example of evaluation matrix. Let's discuss each one in detail. So evaluation framework matrix, for example, improved health status of population in rural area. This is a project, improved health status of population in rural area. We are developing an evaluation framework for that. So the first one, as I showed you in the table, the evaluation criteria is the relevance. So for this, our evaluation questions would be like these. Does the project address the key health needs and priorities of the rural population? That would be the key question. How well does the project align with local health policies and strategies? Data collection method would be stakeholder interview, community surveys, policy document reviews. Then in data analysis plan, we will do thematic analysis of interviews and survey data, qualitative data, and comparison with local health policies. We can have some analysis of the responses from the community surveys also. So that is also a player of data analysis. And then responsibility, that would be evaluation lead, oversee relevance assessment, field researchers, and policy analyst, etc. So here you can see the roles and responsibilities of the different team members. This is the evaluation framework sample. First, criteria, which one is the criteria, then the evaluation question, data collection method, data analysis plan, and responsibility. Let's discuss now the next one, coherence. For coherence, our evaluation question would be how well does the project integrate with other local or regional health initiatives? Are there any conflicts or synergies with existing programs? What would be the data collection method? Program documentary, interviews with partner organizations, network analysis, the data analysis, thematic analysis of the project document, qualitative analysis, quantitative analysis, and here you can see the roles and responsibilities of the different team members. Effectiveness. Our question would be, to what extent have the project objectives and targets been achieved? What are the measurable changes in health outcome, for example, morbidity, mortality among the rural population? You can add a lot of other sub-questions. I will show you some other examples, but these are the key main questions. What would be the data collection? Health records, pre and post intervention survey, focus group discussion. These would be the data analysis plans, and here you can see the roles and responsibilities of the different team members. All this is related to this project, okay? Similarly, for efficiency, how effectively have resources, financial, human time been used to achieve the project outcome? What is the cost effectiveness of the intervention? So here we will see financial records review, staff interviews, cost benefit analysis, and the data analysis plan would be cost effective analysis, thematic analysis of interviews, data, and financial analysis. And here you can see the roles and responsibilities of the different team members. Then for impact, our key question, what long-term changes in health status being observed in the target population? What unanticipated outcome, positive or negative, have emerged? Similarly, here you can see the different data collection methods, longitudinal health data analysis, community interviews, case studies. Here you can see data analysis plan, trend analysis of the health data, qualitative analysis of the community feedback, case study synthesis, etc. And here you can see the roles and responsibilities of the different team members that are required. And then for sustainability, how likely are the health benefits continue after the project ends? What mechanisms are in place to ensure the ongoing maintenance of the project outcomes? So this is the key question for sustainability. The data collection method would be follow-up surveys, interviews with local health officials, review of project documentation. This is the data analysis plan. You can add other areas also, other data analysis plans also, and here you can see roles and responsibility. So basically, this is a complete evaluation framework, just a framework for that project, And in these questions, then you can add sub questions in the tools when you are developing detailed tools for data collection. So you can add a lot of different questions. So here I will show you some examples more of evaluation in different sectors as we discuss the evaluation framework. So now we will discuss examples of evaluation in different sector with that evaluation framework. For example, you are evaluating a maternal health program in rural area of a country. Here you can see the evaluation question would be, how effective is in reducing maternal mortality rates? It's evaluating a maternal health program. So the key question for your evaluation is, how effective is the program in reducing maternal mortality rates? You can add then sub question that we will discuss now. Indicator, number of maternal deaths per 1000 live births. So when you are asking this type of question and when the is evaluating maternal health, so obviously your indicator would be number of maternal deaths per 1000 live births, percentage of births attended by skilled health personnel. This is also an example of indicator that you would need to evaluate if you are evaluating this project. Data collection method, health record analysis, surveys with program participant. You will conduct surveys and you will also analyze health records. Now criteria. The criteria that you will need to apply. The first one, relevance. Are the program activities aligned with the community's health needs? Your program is on maternal health program. Whether actually in that rural area their mothers are dying during giving birth to children or not, you can evaluate through these type of question. Are the program activity aligned with the community health needs? Efficiency, are resources used effectively to maximize health outcome? Effectiveness, has there been a reduction in maternal mortality rate? You have completed the project, so is there any reduction now? For example, if there was one death per 1000 live births, so now what is the status? Coherence, does the align with other health initiative in the area? If health department or other NGOs are conducting some activities in that area, whether these activities are aligned with those? Impact, what long-term health benefits have been observed? And similarly, can the community maintain the health practices after ends? Now when you conduct that evaluation, so what you will have to present? You will have to present the data analysis. So for example, there are different regions in that area, region 1, 2, 3. So when you analyze the data, so you will have to present that like this. For example, maternal mortality rate. This one shows the before status and this one shows the after status. So here you can see reduction. So you will have to analyze the data and present it like this in region 1, region 2, region 3, and similarly region F, region G. So when you present data like this, then you can see that in which region the maternal mortality rates after the intervention is reduced a lot, and which region it is still there are issues. So you can see here, analyze the data and present it in different ways to give some insights to the community and stakeholders related to the project. Another example in education, evaluating an intervention Khyber Pakhtunkhwa or any other region, that is there is an education intervention and you are evaluating that. So here also your evaluation question is, what impacts has the intervention had on students' literacy rate? The project is based on education intervention increasing literacy rates. So your key question for evaluation would be, what impact has the intervention had on students' literacy rate? Indicator. Your key indicator would be literacy rate among children aged 6 to 12 and school attendance rates. These will be a key indicators that you will collect data for. Data collection method, standardized tests. You will have to take tests from the student, attendance record, interviews with teachers and students. So these would be the data collection methods. Now the criteria when you are applying. So the first criteria that you would apply, relevance. So your question would be, are the educational intervention addressing the actual learning needs? Whether actually the literacy rate is very bad in that area, whether this intervention was required or not. Efficiency, Are the educational resources being used optimally? Effectiveness, has there been an improvement in literacy rate or not? Coherence, how well does the integrate with existing educational policies? If there are educational policies on literacy improving, etc., so how well does this program integrate with those? Similarly, for impact, what long-term educational impacts are observed? And for sustainability, will the improvement in literacy rates continue after the intervention ends or not? So as we discussed, the key indicator, literacy rate, for example, so when you analyze the data, so you will have to show by year the literacy rate, and here with similar type of chart, you can collect the data before 2020, the year when you are conducting evaluating, and then you can present the data of that current status, which is shown here on this bar. So you can present this data related to literacy rate like this. You can also present that literacy rate pre-intervention rates and post-intervention rates. For example, this blue one is the pre-intervention and the green one is the post-intervention. So you can present data school-wise or district-wise or region-wise. Similarly, attendance rate pre-intervention, what was the attendance rate, and now what is the attendance rate post-intervention? Now currently what is the attendance rate? You can show this by school, school A, school B, school C, or by areas, districts, location, etc. So here you can see, you can present it like this. The blue one shows the pre-intervention and the green one is after. So there is improvement every year. You can present that and interpret this data. How to develop such type of chart? I have done lots of video tutorials, more than 100 links are given in the description. You can watch those videos also. There are data analysis, need assessment, research, how to do data analysis of evaluation and research. So there are lots of video tutorial and you can watch those videos. The links are given in the description, and you can visit my channel and there is a complete playlist on data analysis. Now let me show you another example from WASH sector. Evaluating a clean water project in Sindh or any other area, rural area or urban area. Your key question for this evaluation would be, has access to clean water improved in the target communities? You have implemented a project, clean water project. So your evaluation main question would be, has access to clean water improved in the target communities or not? Your indicator would be number of households with access to clean water, incidence of waterborne disease. These indicators will show you how effective this program was. Data collection method, household surveys you can conduct. You can ask the households whether they have access to clean drinking water or not, whether there are waterborne disease or not. Water quality tests you can do, health clinics record you can see whether there is any reduction in health clinics record or not. Criteria is applied. Relevance, is the project addressing the critical water needs of the community? Whether actually there was a problem related to water in that community. So whether the project is addressing the critical water need of the community. Then for efficiency, are resources being used effectively to provide clean water? Effectiveness, has access to clean water improved? Coherence, does the project intervention complement with other WASH initiatives of that area, of other NGOs or government initiatives? Similarly, impact, what long-term health improvements are linked to the project? And for sustainability, will the community continue to have access to clean water after the project ends? Now, infographic data. When you analyze the WASH sector data, impact of clean water access on community health, so you can then present data like this: diarrheal disease incidence, child mortality rate, average health care cost, school absenteeism. It's related to that WASH activities. So before, you can collect a data before the clean water access and after clean water access, and you can then compare and present the data like this or in any other format. Or for example, water quality test results before and after project. So you can show these parameters which are related to the water testing, and then before project, after project, and what are the benchmark and standards. For example, you can add those also to show that this is the before project status, This is the after project status, and this is the WHO standard, whether it's meeting that standard or not. In the DRR sector, evaluating a disaster risk reduction in Balochistan or any other area, whether there is a disaster. So your key evaluation question here would be, how effective is the program in reducing vulnerability to floods? So indicator would be number of households with improved flood resilience, frequency of flood related damages. What was the status before and what is the status now? Whether the households have improved flood resilience, intervention implemented related to flood resilience, so whether there are these interventions, so you can then assess the number of households with improved flood resilience and frequency of flood related damages. If there is, God forbid, another flood, so whether there were same damages or there is any decrease in those damages. Data collection method: simply surveys, focus group discussion, field observation. Criteria apply. The number one, does program address the key disaster risk faced by the community, the actual needs of the community? For example, if they need some walls, so whether walls have been constructed or something else has been constructed. Efficiency: are the resources allocated in a way that maximize resilience? Effectiveness: has there been a reduction in flood related damage? Coherence: is the program aligned with national DRR strategies, PDMA, DDMA strategies? What long-term reductions in vulnerability are observed? And sustainability: are the resilience measures likely to be maintained over time? For example, if you have constructed some walls or other damage related infrastructure, so whether that is sustainable or not. And then you can present the data related to DRR, like pre and post intervention flood damage. For example, these are some of the different categories. This is the metric, and before intervention, what was the cost of repairs? After intervention, what is the cost of repair? And then you can present here the change, the percent change. So you can number of buildings damaged after intervention. So you can present the data like this related to different DRR components. And humanitarian sector emergencies: evaluating an emergency food distribution program in any area, Karachi or any other area. So here your evaluation question would be, how effective is the in alleviating the food insecurity? Number of households received food aid, reduction in malnutrition rates. These would be your key indicators. Data collection, beneficiary surveys, health assessment, distribution record. Your criteria apply: relevance: is the food aid addressing the immediate nutritional need of the population? For example, you have provided food, so whether they actually required food or they needed some cash or other non-food items, etc. Efficiency: are resources being used to reach the maximum number of beneficiaries? Has there been a reduction in food insecurity? Coherence: how does the program integrate with other relief efforts? Impact: what long-term improvement in nutritional status are observed? Sustainability: are there mechanisms in place to sustain food security post-crisis? So this is an example from humanitarian sector. And then you can present, for example, household receiving food aid. You can present that data for different months. Here you can see months and how much has been provided. And you can pre and post intervention malnutrition rates, you can present in a table like this. For example, before intervention is what, 25%, now it is 12%, and that is the change in each indicator. Let's discuss a case study here. In this case study, I will demonstrate application of evaluation criteria. Comprehensive evaluation of a multi-sectoral resilience program. For example, there is a multi-sectoral resilience program, and we are doing to evaluate that project. Program overview. The Integrated Community Resilience Initiative was implemented in a rural region prone to natural disasters and health challenges. The program aimed to enhance community resilience through education, health, disaster, and humanitarian assistance. You can see here that was a multi-sectoral, so that's why in education their goal was improving local education quality, and health, strengthening health services, and disaster, enhancing disaster preparedness, and in humanitarian, providing immediate support during crisis. Now, evaluation using UNEG criteria. There are 4 sectors in this one project. So how we will apply the different criteria to evaluate this project. Now here you can see relevance. On this part you can see the definition, the extent to which the objectives of our project are consistent with the needs of the beneficiary and content. So in the application and case study, what was the application? In education, assess the relevance of new teaching methods to local students-led initiatives. Health, evaluate if health intervention addressed prevalent local disease. And DRR, ensure disaster preparedness activities were aligned with the community's specific risk. Humanitarian, verified that aid provided met the urgent needs of disaster affected population. So for all these 4 sectors in the same project, this would be the application of the relevance criteria. Let me explain it a bit more. In education, conducted a need assessment with local teachers, students to tailor the new curriculum and teaching method, focused on addressing gaps in literacy and numeracy that were identified as critical by community stakeholders. So this is one of your relevance criteria application. In education and health, implemented health intervention based on epidemiological data showing high rates of infectious disease, prioritize vaccines and health education programs relevant to the community's prevalent health issues. Similarly, in DRR, we designed disaster preparedness activities based on a local risk assessment, identifying flood and earthquake as primary hazards. Activities included building flood defenses and earthquake resistance infrastructure. In humanitarian, adapted emerging relief plans to the immediate needs of community affected by a recent cyclone, ensuring timely distribution of food, water, and shelter. Now, when you are applying coherence criteria, so here the compatibility of the intervention with other intervention is in a country, sector, or institution. So in education, evaluated the alignment of the program with national educational initiative. Health, assessed coherence with existing health initiative. And DRR, checked compatibility with regional disasters management strategies. And humanitarian, ensured alignment with other humanitarian organizations. In education, we ensured the new curriculum and teaching methods aligned with the national education reforms and policies, enhancing coherence with broader educational objectives. Health, coordinated health intervention with existing regional and national health to avoid duplication and ensure complementary action. DRR, integrated disaster preparedness activities with regional disaster management plans and strategies, promoting synergy and shared resources. And humanitarian, collaborated with other humanitarian organizations to ensure efforts were aligned, avoiding duplication and maximizing resource. Now, while applying the next criteria, which is effectiveness, the extent to which the objectives of a program or projects are achieved, including any differential results across groups. In education, we measured improvement in student literacy and numeracy. In health, evaluated reduction in disease incidence and improved patient outcome. In DRR, assessed community participation in disaster drills and increased preparedness level. In humanitarian, reviewed the adequacy and timeliness of humanitarian aid delivery. Evaluated effectiveness through pre and post tests showing significant improvement in student performance and engagement after implementing the new curriculum. And health, collected health data indicating a substantial disease and disease incidence and improved health outcomes after the introduction of community health program. And DRR, conducted drills and simulations demonstrating increased community preparedness and quicker response time in disaster scenarios. Now, for the impact, we have the broader long-term changes produced by a program. So in education, maintain the long-term educational attainment and career success of students. Health, evaluated the sustained improvement in community health indicators. NDRR assessed the long-term reduction in disaster-related losses, and humanitarian measured the recovery and resilience of community post-intervention. Track the long-term educational outcomes such as increased graduation rates and higher rates of university admission among participants, and health monitored long-term health improvements including reduced mortality rates and better management of chronic disease in the community. NDRR evaluated the long-term reduction in disaster-related economic losses and improved community resilience as evidenced by quicker recovery time after event. Now for sustainability, the likelihood that the benefits of project will continue after funding. So in education, evaluated the capacity of local schools to maintain improved teaching. Health, assess the ability of local health system to sustain improved services. NDRR reviewed the integration of disaster preparedness into community practices. Humanitarian analyzed the establishment of local support network for future crises. In education, assess the ability of local school to continue using the new curriculum and teaching methods without ongoing external support, including the integration of training into local teacher development. Then in the health, evaluated whether the health workers were able to maintain new health practices and continue delivering improved services using local resources and knowledge. NDRR reviewed the integration of disaster preparedness practices into daily community life and local governance, ensuring ongoing commitment and resource allocation. And humanitarian analyzed the establishment of local network and resources that could provide rapid response in future crises without a reliance on external aid. Now we will discuss practical steps for effective evaluation. How to conduct effective evaluation. What are the practical steps? To conduct effective evaluation, set clear objectives. For example, reduce malnutrition rates by 15% in 6 months. So this is a clear objective. Here you can see the direction to reduce what? Malnutrition rates, and here you can see the target by 15% and the duration in 6 months. So we need to set clear objectives as we discussed in monitoring also, that if you want effective evaluation, so your objectives must be clear. Develop SMART indicator. SMART means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. For example, if you look at this indicator, so here you can see it is specific to malnutrition, measurable 15%. There is a target which we can, if we have the data, so we can measure that. Achievable within 6 months. So relevant to the sector or to the program or to the project or to the beneficiaries, and time bound. There should be a timeline. For example, 6 months, 12 months, 1 month, etc., etc. For example, here you can see percentage of children under 5 with improved nutritional status. Use mixed method, combine qualitative and quantitative. Collect quantitative data also, but qualitative also. And I have already mentioned that in previous session that quantitative is numerical data. For example, surveys for numerical data. So that is quantitative. Focus groups for in-depth insight, discussion with stakeholders, one-on-one interview or focus group are conducted with 8 or more than 8 people. So that is qualitative. There you have qualitative information. So both these methods we need to apply. Next step is regular review and adaptation. Regularly review your data and adapt accordingly. Continuously improve the process. For example, quarterly review of program performance and adjustment based on findings. Whenever you are collecting data, so just analyze that, identify trends, pattern, conduct quarterly reviews of the performance and adjust based on your findings if there are any issues or any delays. So adjust your timelines and targets accordingly. So these are some practical steps which I will now further explain in the next slide. So effective evaluation requires careful planning and execution. As I mentioned in the previous slide, establish clear objective. Clearly defining what you want to achieve through evaluation, such as improving customer satisfaction or enhancing program effectiveness. What do you want from this evaluation, the one that you are conducting? Then select appropriate method. Which data collection method we need to apply in the evaluation? Choosing the right data collection method, such as whether we need surveys, interviews, observations. Based on your evaluation goals and target audience, we need to decide about the data collection method. Then ensure a rigorous data analysis when you collect the data. So using statistical techniques and data visualization tools to analyze collected data and draw meaningful insights. The next one is engage stakeholder, involving stakeholder throughout the evaluation process from the start of the evaluation when you are developing TORs for the evaluation and concept notes. So from that time we need to engage stakeholder from planning to reporting to ensure their inputs and buy-in. Most of the time we involve stakeholder only in the dissemination, and when we are presenting them our findings, so they are unaware of what was the purpose when the TORs were developed, when this evaluation was conducted. So we must ensure their involvement from the start, from planning phase until reporting and final dissemination. So their involvement must be there from the startup evaluation. And then utilize finding for decision making, using evaluation findings to inform strategic decisions, allocate resources effectively, and drive continuous improvement. After the evaluation, we need to use the findings to inform strategic decisions. Evaluation also gives us information to allocate our resources effectively and continuous improvement. Now, as we discussed in our previous slide, SMART indicator, which, as I mentioned, SMART means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. What that means? Specific, clear and precise description of what is to be achieved. Your indicator description should be clear and precise. What is to be achieved? Measurable, define how the achievements will be measured through specific metrics. Achievable, realistic and attainable considering available resources and constraints. Relevant, pertains directly to the goals of the project or sector. That indicator should be directly relevant to the goals in the project or the sector, and it should be time bound. Specifies a deadline or time frame for achieving the indicator. There should be a deadline or a time frame. Let me give you some example here. Here you can see in the education sector a SMART indicator, for example, student enrollment rate. This one. Now, how should that be specific? Increase the enrollment rate of students in primary schools in the target rural area. It is specific now. Target rural area, primary schools. So everything is properly specified. Measurable, number of students enrolled in primary school per year. It's measurable. Achievable, achievable given the availability of schools and awareness campaign. Relevant, address the need for improved education access in rural area. Target is to increase by 10% within the next 12 months. So that is what we said, time bound. Similarly, here also you can see some more examples. And here you can see related to literacy rate, some more example. For example, student attendance rate. So improve attendance rate for students in primary. Enhance the literacy rate among children age 6 to 12. Everything is specified. So such type of SMART indicators we need to develop for our projects. This was an example from education. This example is now from health sector. For example, immunization coverage. Increase the immunization coverage among children under 5 years in rural area. It's specific and it's measurable. Percentage of children under 5 receiving complete vaccination for national schedule. And similarly achievable with mobile health clinics and community outreach. Relevant, essential for reducing preventable diseases. It is relevant. And time bound, increase coverage by 25% within 12 months. So this is time bound. So these are some of the examples which you can discuss in detail. These are the types of indicator which we call SMART indicator. Here you can see another example from WASH sector. The indicator access to clean water. Now access to clean water, how it should be specific. Increase the percentage of household with access to clean drinking water. We have specified here. Measurable percentage of households with access to safe and reliable water sources. Achievable through new water infrastructure and maintenance. It is achievable through that intervention. So we need to develop such type of metrics for our indicators when we are developing them, and we need to assess them against these criteria: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Let me show you some examples of effective evaluation practices. Customer satisfaction survey, analyzing survey responses to identify areas for improvement in service delivery and enhance customer satisfaction. This is an example of effective evaluation. Here you can see customer satisfaction survey is there. So we are going to collect and analyze survey responses to identify areas for improvement in service delivery and enhance customer satisfaction. Another example is employee training evaluation. So in that we need to assess the effectiveness of training programs through pre and post training assessments to ensure skills development and performance improvement. Impact evaluation, measuring the long-term effects of a community development project on improving health outcomes and empowering marginalized communities. Purpose is specific and properly explained, and a clear objective is there. Effective evaluation requires adherence to best practices, proactive implementation of findings, and addressing common challenges encountered in practice. Let's explore these aspects to ensure successful evaluation outcomes. Incorporating participatory approaches. These are some of the best practices which we need to ensure in our evaluation. Engaging stakeholders and using mixed method for comprehensive evaluation. Another best practice implementation tips: integrating evaluation findings into project planning, resource allocation, and decision making. This is one of the best practice. Most of the time we conduct evaluation and develop report and disseminate, and then that report is gone. We need to use those findings into other project planning, resource allocation, and decision-making process. Challenges and solution: addressing issues such as data reliability, stakeholder resistance, and resource constraint through strategic planning and collaboration. We need to do proper planning and collaboration for this. Now, what are the strategies that we need to adopt for effective evaluation? We can implement several strategies. Capacity building involves training staff and stakeholders in evaluation methods. Utilizing technologies such as digital tools for data collection and analysis can improve efficiency and accuracy. Adopting participatory approaches by involving beneficiary and stakeholder in the evaluation process can enhance relevance and buy-in. Utilizing technology such as digital tools, as I mentioned in the monitoring session also, and I have done some videos on this also, how to use technology to collect data through Kobo and MS Form or Google Form. The links are given in the description, and here also you can watch them. So there are several strategies. One among them, capacity building. So in the capacity building, we need to train staff and stakeholder in the evaluation method. The evaluation that we are going to conduct, so we need to train staff and stakeholder on those methods so that they may be aware what type of evaluation they are going to conduct in the field. Use technology, digital tools for data collection and analysis, as I mentioned. That can improve efficiency and accuracy. If you are using digital tools, so you can apply skip logics, drop down, restriction, validations, etc. And there you can have a cleaned and proper data. Participatory approaches involve beneficiaries and stakeholders in the evaluation process. That is participatory approach. Evaluation is basically not a one-time event, but a continuous process of learning and improvement. Let's explore some strategies for embedding evaluation into project life cycles to drive continuous improvement. Learning loops. This is one of the best strategies. Establishing feedback loops to gather ongoing feedback from stakeholders and adjust project strategies accordingly. This is one of the best strategy to ensure your projects are implemented properly. So we need to establish feedback loops to gather ongoing feedback from stakeholders during the project implementation. Adaptive management, embracing adaptive management principles to respond to changing project context and emerging challenges in real time. Be adaptive. There should be some modification in the project with the passage of time. If that project is not changing, it means you don't have any monitoring and evaluation system. And then evaluation tools, utilizing monitoring systems, evaluation framework, and data visualization tools to facilitate ongoing evaluation and decision making. There are some challenges in evaluation, so let's discuss those challenges and what are the possible solutions for those challenges. Data quality, ensuring accurate and reliable. This is a challenge in monitoring, also evaluation, also in research. Another challenge is resource constraint, then stakeholder engagement, lack of clear objective and scope, insufficient resources, bias and subjectivity, resistant to evaluation findings, and data analysis and interpretation. So these are some of the challenges. Now let's explore each one of them with their possible solutions. For example, a lack of clear objective and scope. So define clear, smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound objectives at the outset, as we discussed in the previous slides also. Conduct stakeholder consultation to align expectations. That is very important. We need to discuss with them. What are their expectations and what we need to achieve through this activity. There should be alignment between these things. Another challenge is insufficient resources. So we need to plan realistic timelines and allocate adequate resources. Seek additional funding or partnerships. Train and build capacity of evaluation team that can solve this challenge. Similarly, data collection issues. Use multiple methods, surveys, interviews, observations. Multiple methods are good for triangulation of data, pilot data collection tools, and refine based on feedback. We need to test our data collection tools before actual evaluation and ensure data quality checks and validation. Properly data validation checks we need to apply. Bias and subjectivity. Use standardized protocols and tools. Implement inter-rater reliability checks. When you are training enumerators, so you need to do inter-rater reliability checks. For example, 5-6 data collector whom you are training, they ask some question of the tool from different participants and then you compare their scoring. That is called inter-rater reliability checks. I have developed a video on this also. The link is given in the description. You can watch that video to learn how to ensure inter-rater reliability checks. Similarly, ensure diversity in evaluation team. Male, female, if the project is related to transgender, so there should be transgender also in the data collection team. So we need to ensure diverse team in the evaluation process. Resistance to evaluation finding. This is one of the main challenge. Engage stakeholder early and communicate finding transparently. If you are not involving them from the start, so there would be resistance to the finding from the stakeholders, especially government. They won't own those findings. Highlights benefits and opportunities for improvement. We need to highlight the benefits and the opportunities which are there in the evaluation for improvement. So we need to highlight benefits and opportunities to the stakeholders. Another challenge is limited stakeholder engagement. Similar to the previous one, foster collaboration and involve stakeholders from planning to dissemination. As we mentioned earlier also, tailor communication strategies to stakeholders' need. Similarly, ethical concerns. Follow ethical guidelines rigorously. As we discussed in previous slide, the ethical standards, so that we need to follow. Obtain informed consent and protect confidentiality. Address cultural sensitivity and respect local norm. These are ethical concerns. Sometimes it is also one of the key challenge. Complexity of measurement. Develop clear indicators and metrics. Your indicators, though, against which you are collecting the data and the metrics, that should be clear. Use mixed methods for comprehensive assessment. As we discussed earlier, quantitative and qualitative methods. Seek expert advice for specialized measurement. Similarly, sustainability of evaluation impact. Integrate evaluation into project planning from inception. build local capacity for ongoing monitoring and evaluation. Data analysis and interpretation use statistical software and qualitative analysis techniques. Conduct peer reviews for ensure findings aligns with evaluation. Ethical consideration in evaluation. It's basically informed consent. When you are collecting data from someone, so you need to inform him or her about what is the project, why you are collecting the data, what is the purpose, and what type of questions you are going to ask from that participant, how those responses of the participant you will store, so that participant must know about why this data is being collected from him or her, and what is the purpose, and how this data will be used. So we need to ensure that participants are fully aware and agree to the evaluation process. This is called informed consent. This is very important. Confidentiality, protect participants and their data. For example, their names, if there are contact numbers, email, etc. That we need to protect, and we need to anonymize that data. That is very important. Avoiding harm, ensure the evaluation process does not negatively impact participants. Harming is not only hitting someone, avoiding harming them physically, emotionally, socially. So we need to ensure that the evaluation process or the interview that you are going to conduct with the participant should not negatively impact that participant. Here, let me show you in a table. These are some of the ethical consideration we need to ensure in evaluation. For example, the first one, respect for participant. Treat all individuals and communities with dignity and respect. Obtain informed consent and ensure confidentiality of their data. Integrity and transparency. Conduct evaluation honestly and transparently, disclosing potential conflicts of interest and ensuring findings are accurately reported. Justice, ensure fair treatment, equal opportunity, and inclusivity. Avoid biases in data collection and analysis. When you are asking them questions, you should not be subjective. You should only report those responses which the participant has shared. Do not add anything from your side. Professional competence. Maintain high standards of professional competence and integrity in planning, conducting, and reporting evaluation. Similarly, independence and impartiality. You should be impartial. Maintain independence from undue influence or bias, ensuring evaluation are impartial and objective, not subjective. Now here you can see another one, informed consent, as I mentioned in the earlier slide. Then there is confidentiality and anonymity. As I told you, safeguarding confidentiality of participant, identities and responses, use anonymized data wherever possible. Then there is data security, ensure secure storage, handling and disposal of data. Similarly, cultural sensitivity, respect cultural norms, values and practices of participant and community. Whatever their cultural norms are, we should respect them. Adopt evaluation methods to be culturally appropriate and respectful. Then continuous learning and improvement. Engage in ongoing reflection, learning and adaptation of evaluation practices to enhance effectiveness and ethical standards. And similarly, feedback and accountability. Provide timely and meaningful feedback to participants and stakeholders. Maintain accountability for evaluation process and outcomes. Evaluation is a powerful tool for enhancing project effectiveness, driving continuous improvement, and maximizing impact. By applying evaluation principles, strategies, and best practices, we can ensure the success of sustainability of our project. We need to start integrating robust evaluation practices into our projects from today so that we may have good evaluations and an evidence generation for ongoing project or future projects or projects which have been closed due to issues and challenges. Feel free to share your thoughts or ask for clarification on any aspect we have covered. Do share in the comments your experience of watching this video. What are other challenges? What are other areas that we need to improve in evaluation? Or if you have any question, any suggestions, so please do share in the comments. Thank you all for joining me in this exploration of evaluation practices and development in humanitarian context. Your engagement is valuable to me. Please feel free to leave any feedback or suggestion for topics you would like us to cover in future tutorial. Have a great day. See you in the next video. If you visit our channel, so you can find lots of YouTube tutorial and playlists on monitoring, evaluation and research, what is monitoring, how to do it, designing logical framework, result framework, theory of change. Similarly, we have playlists of Microsoft Excel learning data analysis function. So there are lots of tutorial on data analysis, how to do. There are lots of tutorial on how to do online data collection with Kobo, MS Form, Google Forms, online data collection tools, Kobo. You can improve a lot of your skills through easy ways to collect online data and analyze that. Similarly, ChatGPT and other AI tools, MS Access. If you want to learn Microsoft Access, so there is a detailed tutorial on MS Access and SPSS, and similarly other tutorials that can benefit you a lot. We also provide one-on-one session if you are interested to learn about any of these topics. Here you can see the WhatsApp number or Skype ID, email address. You can contact us. We provide one-on-one sessions also that we can discuss through WhatsApp or email. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share with your family and friends, and hit the notification bell.